What's up, guys? This is the first day of the week of Love and Truth. Listen, today I want to talk to you about loving God. Loving God and learning how to receive His love. If we look in John chapter 14 and verse 15, we hear Jesus, He told His disciples, He said, "If you love me, keep my commandments." They go to the word commandments, obedience. Yes. True love for God symbolizes us obeying Him. He says that if you love me, you will basically do what I tell you to do. And it's not just simply doing what He tells us to do, but why? Why must we obey God? Why should I trust what He say? Well, if we look at it, we have to realize the Bible also tells us He chastens those whom He loves. And you got to look at obedience not from a point of dictatorship or Him forcing Himself on us, because He's love and love doesn't force itself. God doesn't force Himself. He doesn't make you a puppet and make you do certain things. The choice is ours, but He calls us to obedience because it's His best for us. God wants us to have a good and a prosperous and a blessed life, but the only way that we can obtain those things is by obeying Him. And so we can't look at obedience with having a nasty taste in our mouth, because a lot of people abuse authority. So now we look at the authority of God funny, which is understandable, but we have to let that mindset go and realize that when God calls us to submission, it's for my own good. And yes, it may be painful. Yes, I may have to let go of some things or some people, some activities, but it's for my good. So whenever we're loving God, realize that it lines up with obeying Him, and it's for our good. Also, like I said, Hebrews 12 said He chastised those whom He loved. We always hear this story, if you're a parent and if you see your kid about to stick his finger in an outlet, if you like my mama, you go pop me. You ain't gonna say, "No, Johnny, don't do that. Stop, don't stick your finger." No, my mama's go smack my hand real hard so I can know from now on if I want to decide to stick my finger in an outlet, it's going to remind me, that may not be a good idea. It has some negative reinforcement behind it, because she didn't want me to go through, those penalties or those consequences. And it's also the same way with God. When He pops our hand or He corrects us, it's literally there to save our lives. It's not there to just say no because that's wrong, I don't do it, but because it ends in death. Whether spiritually death, mentally death, or even physical death. If you, like me, used to be in the world and you played with a lot of things that could have taken you out. And so, but I love obeying God. It's the best choice I've ever made. I've lived a life of disobedience and rebellion a long time, but obeying God is one of the best things that I can do. So I want you to ask yourself on today, ask yourself, what have I made a priority before God? What have I submitted myself to other than God? And if that's a hard question to ask yourself, I want you to ask yourself, what is the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning? What is the first thing I think about? Do I make myself aware of the presence of God? I ask yourself, what do I run to whenever I'm feeling low? What do I run to whenever I feel rejected, or if I want to beat myself up? How do I respond? Do I run to God? Do I have alternatives that I go to? And this is to challenge you to simply run to God. He loves you, and He wants us to love Him the same way. Again, this is quick. I wanted it to be quick. I wanted to drop this word off. Go back and study John chapter 15, verse 14. He says that if you love me, you will obey me. Love y'all.